Blessed are those without expectation, for they will never be disappointed. Last week, I said this week's NXT, what with 2 major championship matches, a heavily hyped return and a heavily hyped debut, should be an easy A. Was it an easy A? Let's take a little trip and find out. This is NXT Graded. Dominik Dijakovic and Johnny Gargano go one-on-one to get us underway. Cool new music, video, and swagger for Johnny Gargano in this one. Dijakovic just hoofing Gargano around the ring, and Gargano staying in the fight using a faked injured leg and copious amounts of distraction from Candice LeRae. He even tries to remove the turnbuckle pad halfway through this match. The finish comes as a result of said turnbuckle, with Dijakovic going for a powerbomb out of the corner. Johnny Gargano pulls the pad away with him, drives Dijakovic's head into the exposed steel. Shortly after that, one final beat, that springboard DDT off the apron, gives Gargano the 1, 2, 3. Dijakovic falls to Gargano after a very, very well put together match. A match worthy of a B. Loved this. I love the chemistry these guys have together. And also it's one of those matches where nobody loses. Dijakovic looked like a star in there, throwing around a former NXT champion the way he did. And there was a particular moment in this when Gargano was trying to powerbomb Dijakovic out of the corner, and Dijakovic moonsaults out, lands on his feet, and you just see Gargano like mouth agog at the skill of Dijakovic. Little things like that really put a guy over. After a replay of their attack on the champs last week, Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel from Imperium lay out a challenge to the NXT tag team title holders Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. Gonna get a match between these four, possibly, by the looks of things. Malcolm Bivens Enterprise is not getting a look in at the moment then. That seems to be the next feud that they were building towards. It seems as if that's been put on ice for now. The Interim Cruiserweight Championship tournament rolls on. It's Akira Tozawa versus Jack Gallagher. Tozawa outclassing Gallagher earlier on, so Gallagher takes a powder, strikes Tozawa as he goes for a dive, which means Gallagher takes control. Some World of Sport type action, which Tozawa counters by running himself and Gallagher out of the ring as Gallagher applies his sleeper. We see Tozawa and Gallagher fighting on the apron. Eventually, Tozawa hits a DDT on the hardest part of the apron before hitting a senton off the top for the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, looking ahead to his final match in this part of the tournament, Tozawa looks down the camera, says he's never competed against Phantasma, but says, "Phantasma, I will beat you." Simples. C+ for this. It was a good match. It was short, not loads to write home about, but they worked really well together. I love Jack Gallagher's new look at the moment. I know it's not new, he's had it for a while, but we're seeing it on a bigger level. It's a weird one with Tozawa at the moment because, like, on Wednesdays, he is this force to be reckoned with in the Cruiserweight division, but on a Monday, he's just getting shooed by whoever's knocking around. You know, he was in the gauntlet last week. He got very quickly beaten by Lashley. The week before, he was battered by Mahal. It's a shame to have this juxtaposition between 48 hours. Xia Li versus Chelsea Green up next. Green throws her entrance attire at Xia Li to try and get the early distraction, but don't really matter. Li just batters Chelsea Green. Aaliyah makes her way out to the ring to cause distraction. She gets hoofed in the face for her troubles, but the distraction allows Chelsea Green to hit the I'm Prettier for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, Robert Stone helps Aaliyah to her feet, possibly inviting her into the Robert Stone brand. We don't know, speculation forever. Giving this a C-, it was fine, just nothing really to write about here. There's possibly the continuation of the story between Aaliyah and Xia Li. Great. That's something we want to see more of. Yay. After we hear from Velveteen Dream ahead of his title match against Adam Cole tonight, it is the debut of Karrion Kross, one-on-one with Leon Ruff. Let's talk about this entrance. Whew! My days. Smoke billowing everywhere. All shot in black and white. Scarlet Bordeaux leading Karrion to the ring, lip syncing his theme music as he goes. get in the ring. Smoke still billowing, lights turning red. Karrion standing there looking wild. Scarlet Bordeaux rolls through his legs, appears underneath him. The music ends naturally as the title card shows their name. Oh man, the end. This is where WWE, for all of their faults, always nail it. Like, they have the sports entertainment package thing down pat. They know how to make this thing work. The camera, the production, the lighting, the setup, it's just all these little touches. This was phenomenal. The match starts. Leon Ruff is already in the ring. Bless him. We know what's happening here. Two back suplexes from Kross. Locks in the cross jacket, which is like a reverse clutch type maneuver for a quick tap out, and the match is done. While smoke is still kind of settling around the ring. And that was a fun aesthetic as well. I'm wondering whether that was a happy accident or not. The fact that we've got the guy getting suplexed around the ring whilst there's still smoke billowing. Like, that looked cool. Match ends. Kross and Bordeaux stand up looking mean. The lights flicker. Oh man. Right, I'm giving this an A. This is an A, okay? Now, in terms of the match, like, there is nothing to the match, okay? But the presentation of this was so good, you can't not give this a strong grade. This is, grading on a curve in a way. Like, the presentation of this was so good that you have to give it an A. And it immediately makes Kross and Bordeaux stars in NXT. I loved it. After a video hyping Charlotte and Io Shirai's match coming up, we hear from Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. And with regards to their challenge from Imperium, Thatcher says to Riddle, "You knock him out, I'll tap him out." Later on, we find out that next week on NXT, we're getting a tag team title match between Imperium and Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, which will be fun. The NXT Women's Championship on the line. It's Charlotte Flair defending against Io Shirai. Shirai has said in interviews that Charlotte Flair is her dream opponent and her wish is coming true tonight. Be careful what you wish for, says Mauro Ranallo. The match starts with Io Shirai outmaneuvering Charlotte Flair. Matrix-style dodge of the big boot. And it looks like Shirai might have the number of Charlotte, but Charlotte eventually ends up cutting her off, wearing her down, and basically dominating, being the much bigger, stronger champ over the smaller challenger. Every time Shirai gets into this match, Charlotte Flair finds a way to cut her down. This goes on and on, but Shirai simply won't stay down. Gets a near fall on a big boot, does Charlotte, but Shirai keeps on coming back. Charlotte goes for a powerbomb late into the match, and Shirai manages to flip it round and drive Charlotte into the corner turnbuckle. Charlotte falls out of the ring off the back of that. We see Shirai go up top, goes for a moonsault to the floor and misses, and ends up eating a kendo stick, conveniently discovered by Charlotte Flair for the disqualification. After the match, Charlotte Flair is trying to injure the leg of Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley just appears unceremoniously out of nowhere and pushes Charlotte Flair away, drops her onto the apron, and then with an electric chair drop type thing, and then Charlotte takes a powder through the crowd. Charlotte is backing off as Rhea Ripley's leaving the ring, heading up the ramp. Io Shirai shouting at Rhea all the way up, and Rhea just keeps going, "Shut up! Shut up." Afterwards, they're backstage and Rhea Ripley is being interviewed, and she says that Charlotte beat her once, she won't beat her a second time. She's just running down Charlotte, and then Io Shirai turns up. These two end up having a pull-apart brawl at the end of all of this. Begrudgingly, I'm giving this a C+. I really wanted it to be more, but I don't feel like these two really got out of gear. It just kind of felt like it was Shirai fighting in and Charlotte shutting her down, and then the DQ was just a bit of a waste. I know you don't want to have Shirai lose, and I know you don't want to have Shirai beat Charlotte Flair yet, so then why do the match all together? Why? I don't know. And then Rhea Ripley's return just felt a bit underwhelming. Little things like hitting her music, coming out, running off Charlotte that way. It just kind of felt a bit rushed, a little bit sloppy. I don't know whether that was the aesthetic they were going for, possibly, but Oh, I hope next time round, because obviously the DQ suggests that this is far from over. So I hope that when we do this again, they can really go for it. I think considering who was in this match, this should have been better. Interim Cruiserweight Championship tournament action continues. It's Kushida and Jake Atlas, a high-flying clinic from these two. They just mesh together beautifully. Kushida takes control with a somersault plancher. Atlas fights back into it. Great moment where Kushida falls to the outside and Atlas goes for a dive and Kushida runs around the other side of the ring. And Jake Atlas sees this, puts the brakes on, and dives out that side. Like a sensible person would do. Kushida gets rolled back into the ring. Atlas goes for a springboard, and in midair, Kushida catches him with the armbar for the submission victory. This wasn't massively long, but it was just full of the action from the right people. And at the end of the match, Kushida talks about being the one who's going to win the Cruiserweight Championship. He then points at a watch that he has drawn on his wrist tape and says, "Time will tell." I like that. It was cute. This was a B+. Really love the way these two worked together. It wasn't a long match, but it was a fun match. Jake Atlas looked really strong in defeat against Kushida, and Kushida's just been a force in this tournament, and I'm ready for Kushida to do great things. I'd like him to win the whole thing. As much as I'm pulling for Drake Maverick, I don't think Maverick's winning it, considering what we know. So if Maverick isn't winning it, I'd like it to be Kushida, please, and thank you. We hear from Finn Balor. He's on a little podium at the top of the ramp. He says, "I used to think the snakes in this place were in the office." And he says, "Wrestling Rulebook 101, attack the guy, get the push." He then warns whoever attacked him that it won't be a push, it'll be a squash. Oh, and then Balor leaves. Short, sweet work by Balor. He's great in these short little promos. I'm not grading it yet. You'll find out why in a bit. Cameron Grimes takes on Denzel. Dejournette next. Cameron goes for the cave-in early. Denzel avoids it, hits some beautiful suplexes, goes for another, ends up eating a cave-in. 1, 2, 3. Thanks very much. Grimes on the mic afterwards, saying that he deserves better in NXT. He talks about wanting to be the guy. He says that he would have attacked Finn Balor, but somebody got there before him. And he even says if he was going to attack Finn Balor, he would do it eye to eye and slap the taste out of his mouth and all this stuff. And as he's saying this, Finn Balor enters the ring, and he doesn't see Finn Balor until very, very much as he's finishing. And suddenly he starts backing off, and Balor's like, "Hey, you want to slap me in the face? Slap me in the face." Grimes swings, gets floored by Balor with a sling blade, takes a powder. Balor looks dead down the camera and says there's a snake in the long grass, and the best way to kill a snake is to chop the head off. You know that episode of Rick and Morty where they're watching Interdimensional Cable and they're watching the advert for Real Fake Doors, and it shows the guy driving home, and then once he gets home, he carries on and they go, "Oh, we're still watching the commercial." My reaction to this was, "Oh, we're still watching the promo. This is still Finn Balor's promo. All that match just happened to be in the middle of Balor's promo." So that's how I interpreted that. This is all one segment that we didn't know about. Balor wrapped up the segment there. So I'm giving the whole thing a B. The Balor promo, the quick squash from Cameron, and then the bit with Cameron and Balor. As far as I'm concerned, we were still in the commercial. That was all part of the same thing. I'm giving it a B. So we come to main event o'clock. It is Velveteen Dream challenging Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Early in the match, Cole goes for the last shot, which gets countered into a beauty of a spine buster, and a Panama Sunrise, which gets countered into a DDT. Cole just can't get a purchase on Velveteen Dream for the majority of this match. Like, if this was a soccer game, football game, whatever you want to call it, Velveteen Dream would be winning with shots on target, basically, by half-time. Cole gets a backstabber to finally turn the tide in his favour, but after a fair amount of time on the offense, we see Dream land a super kick onto Cole, bounce off the ropes and collapse on top of him. Nearly got the pin there, like it was a tense moment as that happens. At this point, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong go, "All right, lads, let's get out there." So Undisputed Era come out to try and help Adam Cole. Then from under the ring comes Dexter Lumis, who fights off the Undisputed Era, keeps them at bay, ends up throwing Roderick Strong into the referee, which is devastating because at that point Dream hits the Purple Rainmaker on Cole, but there's nobody there to count. Dream ends up getting involved in the schmoz outside the ring, dives onto the Undisputed Era and Dexter Lumis, gets back in the ring, only to eat a last shot by Adam Cole. Referee comes to 1, 2, 3, and Adam Cole retains the NXT Championship. The show ends with Cole standing on top of the ramp, doing all this with the fingers however they're meant to go. Butterfly. With his lads either side holding the belt. Velveteen Dream knowing that he's just blown it. Giving the match a B, it was a good match. I kind of thought it would be better than it was. I thought the stuff they did was good. I feel like it was a very good match that could have been a great match after all the weeks and months of build that we've had for it. I don't feel like this is the blow-off, though. I kind of feel like we're going to have there's a little bit more of this story to tell. I feel like they're stretching it out a little bit longer, so I'm kind of giving the benefit of the doubt to that. Nice showing again for Dexter Lumis. I was worried that we'd just forget that he was indestructible for the Undisputed Era, so he comes out and batters them here, which I thought I enjoyed. So maybe more to come. But it was all right. I thought it could have been more, but it was still a very good match. Don't want to underestimate that. I'm giving it a B. Overall, it's a B- for NXT this week. I think the two matches that I thought would lift this show to an A turned out to be, as you just heard then, very good. Good in one case, very good in another. Nowhere near what they should be considering the participants involved. The highlight of the whole show was the Kross debut. And that whole entrance, that whole aura, that to me stole it. Will that momentum continue for Kross next week? Well, time will tell. My jacket smudged me Kushida watch. Oh, I was gonna. Bye.